The events leading America into the Civil War, presented by Miss Terpstra. By the 1850s, chasms between northern and southern states were steadily widening, particularly in issues of slavery. After the Mexican War, the United States received portions of land from Mexico. From thence arose the question, should these territories be admitted to the Union as free or slave states? Some politicians wanted slavery completely banned in these territories, while others pushed for popular sovereignty, the idea that the people of the territory would vote to decide whether slavery would be legal in that territory or not. Amid this arguing and turmoil, Senator Henry Clay offered a solution in an attempt to make both the North and the South happy. His solution was the Compromise of 1850. This compromise called for three things. First, California's admission to the Union as a free state. Second, that territories would decide slavery through popular sovereignty. And third, that a fugitive slave law would be passed, a law requiring northern states to return runaway slaves to the South. While neither the North nor the South were completely content with this compromise, it was agreed upon and signed into law, leaving the overall slavery issue unsolved, but avoiding conflict between North and South for the time being. After Southern Senator John C. Calhoun and Northerners Henry Clay and Daniel Webster died, the spirit of compromise between North and South died with them. Also during this time, the Underground Railroad was in full effect. This was not a railroad at all, but instead an organization that worked to bring slaves from slavery and cruelty in the South to freedom in the North. This system will turn Southerners more against North and Northerners more against the South. Furthermore, in 1851, abolitionist Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote a book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, that pointed out the cruelties of slavery. This book was spread throughout the North in the forms of book and plays, and turned many Northerners against slavery and ultimately against the South. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was signed into law. This law organized Kansas and Nebraska as territories that should decide slavery through popular sovereignty. However, this law violated the Compromise of 1850. In response, both North and Southern groups rushed to Kansas in an attempt to gain the majority in popular sovereignty. They met each other in violent brawls. This whole situation was commonly referred to as Bleeding Kansas. Furthermore, the disagreements between North and South and slavery were taken to the courts. A slave by the name of Dred Scott attempted to sue the United States government for his freedom. However, Supreme Court Chief Justice Taney ruled that first of all, a slave could not sue in the courts. Second, that Congress didn't have the authority to deprive a different citizen of his property, referring to slaves. And third, the Missouri Compromise was unconstitutional, meaning slavery could be practiced anywhere in the United States. This decision upset many in the North. In response, Northern activist John Brown took matters in his own hands, led a group of men into Harper's Ferry, Virginia, and attempted to carry out a plan to invade the federal arsenal, arm the slaves, and invade the South. Although his plan was short-lived and was quickly stamped out by the U.S. Marines, the damage had been done, and more violence had taken place. In the 1860 election, President-elect Abraham Lincoln, a Northerner, was known to hold strong views against slavery. When he won the election, Southern states rebelled, insisting that this Northern man would never understand their views and his administration would be solely against them and would ruin them. On December 20, 1860, South Carolina became the first of the Southern states to leave the Union, starting a series of other Southern state secessions that completely severed ties with the Union and left the North with a choice. Let the Southern states secede and form their own government, or gather the powers and the forces to force them to rejoin the Union and accept its laws and rulings.